Good evening. When my wife and I moved to Lexington a few years ago, our friends and our neighbors were quick to tell us that Lexington is unique. We were told about all the ways that Lexington shines, all its beauty and all its charm. In particular, I was told that Lexingtonians love their horses, their bourbon, and their basketball. But it did not take me long to encounter another Lexington. One morning I was walking along the sidewalk toward Good Shepherd Episcopal Church, where I serve on East Main Street. It was one of those iconic Kentucky mornings. The sun was rising, the fog was lifting. I paused at the front steps of the parish to take it in when I discovered a reminder of the Lexington that so many of our friends and family members, neighbors, and co-workers live within day after day. On the steps lay a needle, dirty and used. I wish I could tell you that this was a one-time experience, but it's not. I wish I could tell you that this doesn't happen every day in neighborhoods, on playgrounds, outside homes, all across this city. But it does. We have listened. Last fall, more than 600 of us gathered in living rooms and dining rooms, in homes and churches across this city, and shared stories about the problems that keep us up at night. The problems that stir anger and fear within us. We know the problems. And then we did the research. We spent hundreds of hours talking to those affected, those already working to combat these problems, those who are experts in the field, and those with the ability to create change. We learned from those within our city and from cities around this nation about best practices and meaningful solutions that can change the reality that is before our eyes in Lexington. The solutions that we are proposing tonight emerge from the best evidence-based, experience-driven research that is available. We have studied the solutions. We've spoken with the officials who can make changes in our city, and we've invited them here tonight because they have the ability to respond to the proposals we will press for this evening. And most importantly, we have gathered more than 2,000 people of faith from across this city here tonight. We are here because we all want to see this city look more like a city where justice reigns, a city where all God's people are valued and lifted up. We did not come by this vision alone. We take our vision from our forebears, from our ancestors in the faith. In the scriptures, we read about the prophet Nehemiah, who heard the cries of the people of Jerusalem. Predatory lending practices forced the people to sell everything that they had, their homes, their farms, even members of their own family, in order to pay their debtors in the midst of a great drought. Nehemiah called together a great assembly of the people to hold the leaders accountable, to restore everything they had taken, to build up a just and fair place of living for all the people. Nehemiah's power came from the organized gathering of God's people showing up and coming together in great numbers. That is our power this evening. In a world that can too often leave us feeling powerless, Nehemiah's example reminds us that we can create change in our city when we come together to speak with a united voice, the voice of justice. As people of 26 different faith communities representing more than 15,000 people across this city, we are already making a difference in Lexington. Week after week, our congregations come together for worship and study, prayer and fellowship. Week after week, our congregations staff food pantries, tutor students, and provide shelter for the homeless. The faith communities and friends that are gathered here are already making a difference in Lexington. But there is still more to do. There is justice to be won, and that is why we are here tonight. Drugs are a serious and pressing problem in Lexington. Overdose deaths have doubled in the last 3 years. Our friends and neighbors are dying while there are strategies that could save lives. Some who call this city home lack access to mental health care, the mental health care they so desperately need. Mental health court saves lives. Many are so terrified by the violence that infects our neighborhoods that they don't even go outside their homes. People are dying in our streets. Stray bullets are hitting houses and our loved ones. There are proven strategies that can save lives. We are here tonight to win justice for all God's people in Lexington and to save lives. There will be tension tonight, but that tension is not our creation. The tension that you may feel this evening comes from the fact that there are people in our city living in fear of violence when there are solutions that could keep all of us safe. The tension comes from the fact that there are folks suffering from drug addiction in our city who cannot access the services that could keep them healthy, alive, and begin the process of recovery. The tension comes from the fact that in our community, people with mental health problems have too often received jail time for minor offenses instead of the treatment they so desperately need and deserve. If you feel tension this evening, be reminded that this tension was not created by us. We simply raised it to the surface. Tonight, we unite our voices out of love for this, our city. Let us remember, we are not angry at our officials. We are angry at the system that is resistant to change. It is not personal. It is about justice. We are a faith-based, disciplined, passionate group of citizens who have listened deeply, researched tirelessly, and gathered more than 2,000 people to press for clear commitments. With that in mind, there are some ground rules this evening. The questions that you will hear have been democratically arrived at by our various committees, and there will not be questions from the floor. We will ask for and expect straightforward commitments from our officials, and then 2 minutes will be given for a statement only after a straightforward commitment if there is time remaining. And we will be respectful of all the officials in attendance tonight. With voices united, we've won victories before. In the past years, we've cried out, and because of our collective voice, more than 1,200 affordable living units have been built or rehabilitated for individuals and families. And more than 500 women in our jail have received access to a drug treatment program. We've done it before. So, dear people of God, let us rise up and build.